Welcome to Changed Lives. I'm Habiba Chevalier, your host, and we have a phenomenal show for you. This is such a great show that I am so proud to present my guest of this show today. Starting with my left, Nancy Dawson. Hi, Nancy. Say hello to our viewing audience.
Hello, and how are you doing? And thank you so much, Habiba.
And I'm going to let my other two guests introduce themselves to our viewing audience, starting with the pretty lady in the orange.
I'm Addie Keys, and I am key character in the production.
Yes, go ahead. Tell us more.
And I will be singing a Negro spiritual that was born in the period that we are portraying, which is in the 1800s. And it was a pleasure and a blessing.
Good morning, my name is Shirley, aka Smacks Cody. And as you can see, I am very amply dressed to run through the woods, which is exactly what I'll be doing, running for my life, trying to be free.
All right, because we're going to be talking about stories from the, how do we say that, ladies?
DaDirt.
Just in case you don't know what we're saying out there, it's dirt, but they say it much better than I do. We say dot. Did I say it right?
Duh.
All right. Anyway.
Dirt.
Yes, this is going to be a fabulous show, and we're going to have a great time because we're going to talk about African American history. And starting with you, Nancy.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start with you. How did you develop? How was this production developed?
Okay. Well, what we're talking about is Stories from the Dirt. And Stories from the Dirt is a play that I wrote, researched, and is a part of a company that I have called Music and Spirit. And this is some of the cast members that we have brought to you today. And Stories from the Dirt is about those stories in African American history that are, as Bill Cosby used to say a long time ago, lost, stolen, or strayed. Meaning those stories about African American history that you don't know a lot about. So we're going to talk about slavery, and we're going to talk about women in slavery. African American women running away during the slavery period. And you know, you often think about runaway slaves, you don't think about women, and women doing that on their own. So that's a little bit about what the play is about. And I have some things here that I want to show you. Part of the play is autobiographical. This is a picture of my great-grandmother,
Okay.
Elizabeth Thompson. And Elizabeth Thompson was a slave in Missouri. And the story in our family is that she escaped from slavery when she was a young girl after she had been dashed in the head with a pair of scissors by her slave master. And so this was a story that was passed down through our family. And in our family, you know, we looked at slavery as something that we were able to overcome, that we were resilient as a result of being enslaved. We were able to take that and become all kinds of things. We have a lot of people in our family that are very successful. And I think a lot of it has to do with that history. I also have with me a lock of Elizabeth Thompson hair because we actually, in our family.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
Can you? That's very interesting.
That's her hair. And so it was passed down to me as a child. From my father, because we actually lived in the house that this old slave woman had. So this is
So you lived slavery. We're talking real slavery.
Yeah, we're talking about I lived.
Right.
My father knew this woman, Elizabeth Thompson, and I grew up in the house that Elizabeth Thompson owned. I think many people think that slavery was such a long time ago, when in actuality, you're talking about many people who are living now whose grandparents or first great grandparents were slaves. And so I think that that's very difficult, particularly for children. Many times when we deal with children, they think that slavery was something that happened 1,000 years ago, when in actuality it wasn't. So, you know, that's what we do.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That's what we do in our production company. We teach people about the enslavement. And so later on today, you're going to see some excerpts from the show. And I also have a couple other things too. This is a slave. This is a quilt.
Let's show this quilt. This is beautiful.
I'm also a quilter.
Okay.
Something I inherited from the family. And so
And
this
is
quilt
beautiful.
is dealing with runaway slave ads in Tennessee. Okay?
Okay.
So you know those ads from the old days probably were about that big, but I blew them up and made them big.
So these are actual ads.
Real, yes, that I have created and placed into a quilt.
This is awesome, Nancy.
Uh-huh.
Don't
And
you
so-
think so, ladies?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
This is
absolutely
totally
beautiful.
awesome.
A lot
And
of
so-
time and work in that.
Right. But the thing is that it's what it says, and I wanted to, because you know some of them are, like I said, they're all around these areas. A lot of them around Clarksville, and here's a woman here. It's a $100 reward. Ran away from the subscriber about August last. A Negro woman named Violet. Okay, formerly owned by Sam Lyons, about 23 years old, of middle stature. So because these slave ads would tell you about what they look like, okay, how
Like
big.
one ads.
Exactly. Well, it's even deeper than that. It's like, can you imagine if you had a car and your car was stolen, right? So someone may place an ad in the paper or go to the police and place an ad wanted by, such and such is missing. Well, that's what they did with these. They had these slaves. They had to
And you
identify.
have many like
Yes.
ads on this quilt.
Right. And when this ad was placed in the newspaper, if no one came to get the slave, then they were auctioned at the courthouse. So this particular woman, Violet, so she ran away somewhere near Clarksville, Tennessee. So all of these on this particular quilt deal with Tennessee in some
I'd like
capacity.
you to read that ad down there. Negro man for sale.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Let's take a closer look at that. Can you read that?
Yeah, Negro man, I put this one in here, let me tell you why. Negro man for sale. On Monday, the 10th day of September, 1860, will sell to the highest bidder for the cash at the courthouse door in the city of Clarksville, Tennessee, that's right up the road, a Negro man named Dawson,
Ah,
aged 26 years, farming the property of F.G. Gray. So I put that in there because he had the same name as me. I thought that was interesting.
yes,
But yes.
it is interesting.
Okay, so this is a person, this ad is in there because no one claimed the slave. And so now they're going to sell him at the courthouse steps.
But this was an ad put in the paper.
Right, these are real.
Selling people.
Right.
Yes.
And we've come a long
That
way.
is totally sinful.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yes.
And that's why, when you think about learning about African American history and culture, we have to think about how far we have
We
come.
have come.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we're a long way. So, a couple other things I want to do because I want you to make sure that you have time to. This is a new CD. We're working with the National Park Service, Songs of the Lower Mississippi Delta. And there's our group in full costume there on there.
Okay, I don't know. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
This,
And here's another one too.
can you see that?
So we're recording music around.
So you record music as well as do the plays that you do, that
Right.
you put on for the community.
Mhm.
How far do these extend into?
Oh wow, we go travel all over the United States.
All right, praise the Lord. That's fantastic.
Right, we just travel all over. And so we brought a couple of people today that are going to do some demonstrations.
And we have, we're going to get a sound.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Right.
that's exciting.
And we're going to talk about the spirituals. The spirituals, many times in church, some churches still sing some traditional spirituals. You often hear people talk about the moaner's bench. You ever heard of that? When the old people get up on the, when I was a kid, I remember the moaner's bench. You didn't know exactly what they was going to sing. Isn't that right, Miss Shirley?
That's
And
right.
then next thing you know,
That
It was
moaning
made
and
up and it
groaning.
just kind of caught
it
on.
was, yeah.
And they actually went to a bench.
Right.
A lot of
Right,
times.
and then suddenly this song comes out. But those spirituals are an important part of that experience of
Of the
those
culture.
slaves. Yes,
Of the culture.
sure, because they didn't have all these musical instruments. Their voices were the musical instruments, so they had to learn within the church how to be spirit-filled with that use of that music. So we do a lot of that with the production. So Miss
And with
Keys
their
here,
feet and hands,
yes.
all of
Yeah,
that.
Shirley, do you have anything you would like to add?
Well, I would like to add a significant point in that The spirituals were born out of suffering.
Mhm.
They are the songs that were born out of our people suffering. When we say, let my people go, and nobody knows the trouble I've seen, they were talking about how they were being treated.
Exactly.
And so it's important for us not to lose the initial contact as to why a spiritual was born. We continue to suffer in a different way, but we still suffer as a people and as a nation. I hate to see that our spirituals are suffering a download into disappearing in our churches. That must not happen. It's up to us to keep them.
Right. And the spirituals were after the spirituals, we had the birth of the blues, all this other gospel. You can't have that if you didn't have those spirituals. So, I think that it's important for churches to try to maintain, because I know there's a lot of young people we work
want
with
to
now,
keep
they
the
don't have it.
culture alive.
The
Yes.
traditions, that's
Okay,
right.
and the traditions.
Yes.
Mhm.
What about you, Addie? Let's hear from you.
Well, for me, being an artist and a musician, it's very meaningful to me. It's a spiritual thing for me. It comes directly from my heart. But one of the key things that's extremely important is not that they were just singing and moaning. They were sending messages.
That's right.
They were sending, down by the riverside, that was a message to where to meet, a meeting place, because they couldn't really talk the way they wanted to talk in the midst of the massa. So they had to give messages, and they gave many messages through the spirituals. That was their coding, so to speak, where they would tell, what was needed to be done, if there was going to be a meeting, or if somebody was escaping, or whatever. It was their way of communicating to one another
Wonderful.
without the massa knowing.
Knowing the underlying story.
Yes, and keeping them safe. So therein came many of the spirituals that will be sung in the production.
And then a lot of these spirituals we're also singing still in the churches today.
Absolutely.
Speaking of today, I wanted to do something different. Water is connected to us in a very deep way.
Yes.
Being thrown in the fish nets into the water. I wanted the congregation to feel that they were actually wading in the water. So we did a chant.
Yes.
It was absolutely, and then we threw the melody on top of that. It was surreal. And I said, feel where our history is. Langston Hughes,
We have
I've
a
known
very,
rivers.
very unique history.
That's right.
And
That's
it
right.
shall not die.
That's
shall
right.
And
It will
we
not.
are appealing to our viewing audience so that they might grasp
Exactly.
some of this knowledge that we are here today to just expound on.
And I think
It's important
It
that
is.
we do not lose our
Right.
history.
We must
Absolutely.
not.
and
Right.
also the slaves were able to make it through because of their belief in God. And I think that that's the
There
most
you go.
important thing.
There you go.
And that's some of the things that we try to stress with the production is that, all those songs are saying through faith, through,
That's
how I made it over. It's all about the relationship with the higher
Relationship with God.
Exactly.
power. Because there's no way people could be able to survive those kind of things, being sold, because you're talking about people's children being sold in here, a husband sold from wives. You're talking about
Children
devastating,
being sold
yes,
from their families.
people being beat, devastating circumstances. So it's that belief in that relationship with the Creator,
and the
higher,
beatings and
yeah.
the lynchings and
Yeah.
things that people don't know about or want to forget about.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's what this does, this production does. And so I don't know if do we have some time for this to get some examples from
Yeah,
this?
let's hear from who's going to do the skit.
I am.
All right, let's
I
see.
need a minute, just a minute to prepare.
Stop the singing and shut that child up. Don't you know there are bushwhackers, payrolls out there? Here, you take this pepper, Put it down. Keep them hound dogs off us. And you, take them sticks and you brush right over them footprints. That's right. Now, ain't no need of you being scared and cold and hungry. I ain't going back. I can't take no more lashes on this back. Should have left that baby with the nurse and mammy, 'cause she thinks we be going to the woods. I ain't going back to no pen and be sold. They see us women just like old mules. Now my grandma Laddie, bless her soul, good woman. She make the finest cloth this side of the Missouri. Now no sooner than her first child be born, they made her get up. Make 12 stiff front tuck white shirts for that old mistress boy. Bless her heart, she be so sick and weak. Some of her stitches be crooked. They be crooked. So what the mistress do? Ordered her to the pole for a whipping. A whipping! Doctor say ain't no need. Ain't no need, she's stone blind. Keep her from making the babies. And that's what she did. She bore 12 youngins. Now, I got stories of my grandma, my mammy, and my aunties all pent up inside of me. And I ain't going back. 'Cause if and I do's, I gonna bust wide open just like a mater left on the vine too long. So you better shut that child up. Hush, little child, hush.
You have just seen an excerpt from the play Stories of DaDirt, and it was excellent. Bravo.
Thank you.
Totally excellent. I'm just overwhelmed that you were able to portray what actually took place. It took place out there, you guys.
It sure enough happened.
It did happen. And I'm excited to see more. I can't wait to see the play. When are we going to see the play?
It's coming. People can
When
also.
will the play be out?
Well, it'll be out. It's out now, but it's touring around. People can look at our website.
Okay, let's go to your website then, so that they could
Get
know
more
how
information?
to get more information, because we want to see the play.
www.storiesfromthedirt.com. That's storiesfromthedirt.com. And so they can look on there to get more information about what's coming and upcoming for the show. And I just wanted to say, thank you so much, Habiba, for having us on the show and being able to express all these important messages that's out there.
Well, it's also my heritage.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. And you asked her. I know when during the time she was performing, you was asking me about the ring shouts and those other kinds of things.
Yes. Okay.
Because we do that kind of thing too in the production. We call it really African American improvisational theater. And by that, it's because it's just not traditional musical theater. It's a little of everything, different forms of the culture. And so, different things that the enslaved Africans would do. And one of those things is, many times the shouts, people talk about that. For example, ring shouts. When you see the people, they have to come to play for that, because we have to move around to do it. It's a movement of shuffling of the feet.
Let's just hear the sound. Can we hear it?
It's a dance.
It's a dance.
So the ring shout dance.
Right.
Oh, I see. It's a dance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rhythm and
Okay.
bones and body.
And the moving around in a circle and shuffling the feet.
Okay.
Okay. They call those ring shouts.
Now I know what a ring shout
Right.
is.
A ring shout. Some of those people out there in the audience will have an idea a little bit about that.
Okay.
But I know that if we had some time, I think that Miss Key, she does an excellent job of singing some of these spirituals. These old spirituals that, like I said, that many of the churches You know, it's all right to have the new form of gospel, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got to be able to have them all. You know, you have to have a repertoire of the music. You have to be able to have all of it, the old and the new, because you couldn't have the new if you didn't have the old. So a good person that's in hip hop understands the spirituals. Okay? If you remember some of the old hip hop, some of the people out there may remember that hip hop artist Guru. He's dead now, but Guru, who was always into the spirituals, and he talked about those. You know, if you're a good musician, you have to understand all forms of music. You really do, and have a great appreciation for it all as well. Okay, but Miss Keys really does an excellent job. It's a song that she sings in the show called "Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen,"
and that's the song you're gonna sing for us.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
And it's indicative of the period and what was happening during the slavery time. So, you know, we've asked her if she can sing a little of that today for us, because I think it will really give you a good idea and a feeling of what this production is all about.
All right. Well, Miss Keys, do you want to sing for us then? Yes, please, by all means. Introducing to you Miss Keys with
Nobody knows.
Nobody Knows
The Trouble I've Seen.
the Trouble I've Seen.
Nobody knows the trouble I see. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the troubles I see. Glory, hallelujah. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. Oh, yes, Lord. Sometimes I almost to the ground. Oh, yes, Lord. Nobody knows the troubles I see. Nobody knows my sorrow. Nobody knows the troubles I see. Glory, hallelujah. If you get there before I do, oh yes, Lord, tell all my friends eyes are coming too. Oh yes, Lord. I says nobody knows the troubles I see. Nobody knows my sorrows. Nobody knows the troubles I see. Glory, hallelujah.
Miss Keys, that was totally awesome. Totally awesome. I know that you are enjoying this show. And I am enjoying my guests, Shirley and Ms. Keys, Nancy. I want to thank you guys for being on the show. And I thank all of you out there for being out there. And I want you to share it with your family and friends. And most of all, I thank God, my Savior, my Lord, for being able to come into your homes and produce shows that can bring this kind of greatness to you, of our heritage, of where we came from. And we are proud people, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Amen.
And we have every right to be proud from where we came from, that we can stand firm.
That the Lord has brought us safe.
Has brought us through some of the trials and tribulations that we've had to go through. And I'm just totally at awe at God. He's a great God. The Lord is our shepherd. We want to leave you with this. The Lord is our shepherd.
We shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the valleys of the shadows of death, we will fear no evil, for thou art with us. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort us. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our lives, and we will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
And he prepareth a table for us
In
Yes.
in the presence
of our enemies.
Well, we hope you got blessed out there, because God is a good God. Go with God. Have faith. Trust in him with your whole heart, and lean not upon your own understanding. Once again, we want to thank you, and we want to bless you for being out there. We bless him?
Yes.
We bless them. Yes.
Stories for dirt.
Yes, Stories for Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So look for the production. Habiba Chevalier, Changed Lives. Thank